We're all familiar with this haunting sound, the alarm waking us from a deep slumber. Even worse is the grogginess you feel throughout the day, meaning you probably didn't get enough sleep last night. But what exactly is sleep, and why do we need so much of it to be able to function properly during the day? Researchers estimate that we spend nearly a third of our lives asleep. What happens to the brain and body during this deep slumber? By the end of this video, you will know the details of the sleep cycle and how your shut-eye leads to many waking possibilities.
To begin, we gathered some information from our fellow Psych 220 students using a survey to learn a little bit more about how sleep affects college students. Out of the 31 students who responded, 39% reported getting 5 to 6 hours of sleep the night before our 8 a.m. lecture. Psychologists recommend that college students get about 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night, yet only 7% of our classmates reach that amount. 42% of our classmates agree that it wouldn't hurt to get about 2 to 3 more hours of sleep to avoid feeling so awful the next day. When they don't get enough sleep at night, our classmates report feeling tired, fatigued, slow, irritable, unmotivated, unproductive, and unfocused the next day. While these are some of the immediate consequences of not getting enough sleep, constantly sticking to a bad sleep schedule can lead to increased chances of diseases later in life. There is a 24% increase in heart attacks during spring daylight savings when we lose an hour of sleep, and a single poor night's sleep can lessen the productivity of the immune system by 20 to 25%. While sleep helps prevent diseases in the future, it's also extremely important for memory storage, energy conservation, and learning processes in the present. But how does sleep do this? What does our brain do to initiate sleep every night?
Let's start at the beginning with the circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock that tells you when to wake up every day. Circadian rhythms are 24-hour cycles generated by part of the hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or the SCN. The SCN regulates circadian rhythm by controlling activity levels in different parts of the brain based on environmental cues like light and temperature. When the lights around you start to dim and the temperature cools down, your brain knows it's time for your body to sleep. Throughout the day, the basal forebrain releases adenosine, a neurochemical that makes you tired, so that by the end of the day, your body is ready to sleep. Caffeine is an adenosine antagonist. While your morning coffee may delay that sleepy feeling throughout the day, you eventually become dependent on it, as the adenosine receptors in the brain are being blocked and therefore multiply, making your body require more caffeine to elicit the same effects.
About 2 to 3 hours before we go to bed, the pineal gland is told to release melatonin, a hormone that makes us sleepy. However, we often adjust our bedtime to fit our busy schedules. On the weekend, we college students usually expose ourselves to light and noise late at night and then choose to wake up much later in the morning. The onset of light when we wake up resets our circadian rhythm to late in the morning. On Monday morning, our bodies are still used to the sleep schedule from the weekend and it's hard to wake up. This is why it's so important to try and stick to the same sleep schedule 24/7.
Next, let's take a look at the stages of sleep. There are 5 stages of the sleep cycle, which is completed multiple times throughout the night, with one total cycle lasting about 90 minutes. During the first stage of sleep, you are drowsy, and often fall in and out of sleep. An EEG shows jagged, low-frequency alpha waves with high amplitudes, meaning you are very relaxed, yet awake and able to respond to stimuli around you.
In stage 2, you are in a state of deep relaxation. Theta waves dominate brain activity during this stage, and an EEG shows the occurrence of sleep spindles, which are bursts of high-frequency brain waves important for learning and memory. We spend about 50% of our total sleep time in stage 2, therefore improving learning and memory the longer we sleep and go through stage 2 of the sleep cycle. In stages 3 and 4 of sleep, one enters a deep sleep with low-frequency, high-amplitude delta waves dominating brain activity. Your heart rate, breathing rate, and brain activity decrease dramatically during these stages, a sign of the parasympathetic nervous system at work. People who wake up at this part of the sleep cycle often don't feel refreshed no matter how long they've slept. They feel disoriented because their body is initiating a sympathetic response immediately after they were in a state dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system.
REM sleep, or paradoxical sleep, is the last sleep stage, characterized by rapid eye movements. Brainwaves mimic those observed when one is awake due to the intense brain activity and dreaming that occurs during this stage. Paralysis of voluntary muscles occurs to keep you from acting out your dreams. While we are still working to determine the exact causes of dreaming, research shows that REM sleep is necessary for improved movements, learning, memory storage, and emotional processing and regulation.
As you can see, sleep is an extremely important time that we should prioritize for our health and mental well-being. Your brain is sorting memories, conquering heavy emotions, fortifying your immune system, and so much more. If you're interested in focusing more on your sleep schedule, here are some helpful tips. Schedule when you want to sleep to ensure you receive your recommended 8 to 10 hours. Avoid computer screens and cell phones for the hours leading up to your bedtime. When you're ready for bed, turn the temperature down, slip under the covers, and let yourself drift off to sleep. Keep up a consistent schedule, even on the weekends, and see if you notice any positive changes.